Brodes Media.
What they did to get rid of Ivan Provorov is deeper than what it seems on the surface. And Charlie O'Connor laid this out in a way that's easier to visualize. So if you look at it as a double trade, so really they made two trades. They got a first rounder, which is number 22 overall, and a 2024 second round pick for Ivan Provorov. That's trade one. Trade two is they got a second rounder and a prospect who was drafted in the second round for swallowing the contracts of Walker and Peterson. That's something interesting to pick up the phone, get a third party involved, eat some money to gain more assets. Now, do you want to move up in the draft? Do you want a bunch of shots fired in the draft because you have so many holes to fill? You want to restock the system. Now you get 5, 6, 7 shots at it. You get a bunch of opportunities to land a stud. There's multiple ways you can do this. And I think they're willing to maybe see if we can move that 22nd up and get somewhere in the teens. All the experts are saying this is extremely deep draft. Or do you go from 7 to 5? You could sell me both ways. And I'm going to say that a lot right now because with a lot of big decisions that need to be made with the Flyers, I can be sold both ways. The Carter Hart thing. Now, when you pick up Peterson's contract from the Kings, it's less about Peterson and more about we're willing to take that money. We're willing to eat that contract. I think they love Urson. They believe he can be a starter. Don't get me wrong, though. Carter Hart is nasty. Carter Hart is really good, elite, fantastic. You'll see him dominate. It will haunt you. You just need to make sure if you do trade Carter Hart eventually, that what you get in return is okay. Where whatever Carter Hart does, that's fine. Because you got a 100-point guy. Because you landed a star who is a number one center. Who's the face of your franchise. Because you're going to get a haul if you do trade Carter Hart. I'm very conflicted. He's only 24 years old. By the time this rebuild gets steamrolling, he could be 28. He could be 29, which is a great age with a lot of experience. He's still in the legitimate prime of his career. 4 years down the road, Carter Hart, he's still in good shape. A lot of good years left. He's special. Shows you the difference, though, in who's pushing the buttons. The man named Chuck Fletcher, I almost forgot his name, and I would love to forget his name and forget his existence. He couldn't trade an expiring contract in JVR to a playoff team. To a team making a playoff push. Couldn't find a way because he had no sense of what the market was. No read. That's the difference on someone who was handed a job because his father was so talented and made a name for himself. So Chuck Fletcher gets handed something. Don't try and tell me that when he was an assistant, stop it. His name, Fletcher, got him the chair. While Danny Briere worked, put in the time, learned. And that shows on the first transaction that really moved the needle for this fan base. I think this let us breathe a bit. Danny Briere on multiple platforms now have said something similar to, we're willing to listen. We're willing to pick up the phone. As long as the price is right, as long as we see value, and we think it could help benefit our club, we'll talk. Well, why do you say it? Because you want people to hear it. Because you want people to do it. And there's two ways to look at this Carter Hart thing. If you want this process to move quicker, you sell off your very limited amount of assets now to gain a bunch more and hit the restart button. Or You do that with everything else, but keep the talented netminder. Because he's so young, that by the time this thing starts to pick up steam and there's more excitement, he's still at a very reasonable age to be fantastic. And it also matters to me that now, when the Flyers start calling, there's respect. I think respect was earned for Briere. And I remember when he went to his first set of GM meetings with the interim tag, I wanted to hear what he learned from that experience. And he's like, oh, these guys are great. There's only so many limited jobs. And, I want to start building my relationships. And in the back of my head, I'm going, there's been savvy GMs who've been in that position and been in those GM meetings a billion times. There's always respect. But I wonder, can I get over this guy? How much can I destroy him? How much could I fleece him? He's like, it's great learning. It's a brotherhood. We want to help each other out here. Yeah, Danny? Do they really want to help you out? Or are they just worried about their own job, their own team, and making sure they're still employed? Are they working Briere? That was my question. That was my thought. You have to do something for them to look at you in a different way. Getting a third team involved, eating some salary, asking other teams to take some of Provorov's contract, getting some second-rounders prospect. There's legitimacy to this. And now the ones that have been around the block acknowledge, hey, that was solid by Danny. Jonesy was on with Anthony Gargano. And he was in studio for like an hour or two. And he was talking about Claude Giroux. And I'm a diehard Claude Giroux fan. Jonesy was asked about G. And he said, well, yeah, he's close to a superstar, but we're looking for guys who get over 100 points. Claude Giroux got over 100 points once in his career. The closest he got after that was, I believe he was either 92 or 93 points. Jonesy's vision, and Ty brought this up, I think it's an excellent point, and it hurts me to say as someone that loves G. Jonesy's vision is, I need more than Giroux. 1,000 games, 1,000 points isn't enough. We need 100-point guys consistently. Look around the league. Look at what the McDavids, the Dreisaitl's, the McKinnons, year in and year out, you're flirting with triple digits in points. Now, how do you feel about that? Keith Jones says Claude Giroux, not what we want. To a degree. No one's going to be mad with having Claude Giroux's career in your franchise, but that's where their mind's at. They're not settling for anything other than, we see Colorado, we saw the Pittsburgh Penguins when Crosby and Malkin were in their prime. We want consistency, we want longevity, we know what this franchise was once all about. We know what this fan base demands, and we've seen the Wells Fargo Center be electric. We need to get back to year in, year out dominance.